is a lamp unto my feet, and a light unto my path. Thy word is a lamp unto my feet, and a light unto my path.
First reading. A reading from the book of Genesis, chapter 9, verses 1 to 13. God blessed Noah and his son and said to them, "Be fertile and multiply and fill the earth. Dread fear of you shall come upon all the animals of the earth and all the birds of the air, upon all the creatures that move about on the ground, and all the fishes of the sea. Into your power they are delivered. Every creature that is alive shall be yours to eat. I give them all to you as I did the green plants. Only flesh with its lifeblood still in it you shall not eat. For your own lifeblood too I will demand an accounting. From every animal I will demand it, and from one man in regard to his fellow man I will demand an accounting for human life. If anyone sheds the blood of man, by man shall his blood be shed, for in the image of God has man been made. Be fertile then and multiply, abound on earth and subdue it." God said to Noah and to his sons with him, "See, I am now establishing my covenant with you and your descendants after you, and with every living creature that was with you, all the birds and the various tame and wild animals that were with you and came out of the ark. I will establish my covenant with you, that never again shall all bodily creatures be destroyed by the waters of a flood. There shall not be another flood to devastate the earth." God added, "This is the sign that I am giving for all ages to come of the covenant between me and you, and every living creature with you. I set my bow in the clouds to serve as a sign of the covenant between me and the earth." This is the word of the Lord.
A reading from the Holy Gospel of St. Mark, chapter 8, verses 27 to 33. Jesus and his disciples set out for the villages of Caesarea Philippi. Along the way he asked his disciples, "Who do people say that I am?" They said in reply, "John the Baptist, others Elijah, still others one of the prophets." And he asked them, "But who do you say that I am?" Peter said to him in reply, "You are the Christ." Then he warned them not to tell anyone about him. He began to teach them that the Son of Man must suffer greatly and be rejected by the elders, the chief priests, and the scribes, and be killed and rise after 3 days. He spoke this openly. Then Peter took him aside and began to rebuke him. At this he turned around and, looking at his disciples, rebuked Peter and said, "Get behind me, Satan. You are thinking not as God does, but as human beings do." This is the gospel of the Lord.
My dear friends in Jesus Christ, in today's gospel, we listen to this character called Peter. In the gospel, first of all, Jesus asks his disciple, "Who do people say I am?" But then afterwards he asks his disciple, "But who do you say I am?" And suddenly, immediately Peter says, "You are the Son of God." Inspired by God, he answered. And secondly, Jesus tells about the mission of this Son of God, that he was sent to this world to suffer, die, and he will be raised again. Listening to that, Peter rebukes Jesus and says, "No, it can't be happening." Jesus turns back to Peter and says, "Get behind me, Satan. You do not think like God, but like men. In the first section, Peter, inspired by God, he gave the answer, you are the Son of God. Second one, his human nature comes into active and he says, God, no, that cannot happen. But then Jesus realizes these two natures of this human being. This gospel passage urged me to ask every one of you, including myself, first of all, who are you? Who am I? The question that we might know, who am I? My own being, self-knowledge of myself. Not only my name, my address and everything, but who am I really? And the second question is, to whom do I belong to? That question, it's an experience, it's a process. We may change from age to age, but when we know, then we come into light and we know that we belong to God. Our lives belong to God. These two questions answers our spiritual growth. Pope Francis says to the youth that the youth must constantly ask these two questions in order to grow spiritually. For a spiritual growth, these two questions are very important. So these questions are given to you too. Who are you? And to whom do you belong to? And this will answer your spiritual quest. Am I in the right path? Am I in the right track? What lacks in my spiritual growth? If I know myself better, then I know my weaknesses as well as my strengths, how God is guiding me. And also if I know if I am belonging to God, if I belong to God, then how should I act? How should I live? Therefore, dear friends, let us ask these questions and not to forget who Christ is for us. The third question. Amen.